Hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation, which will focus on an application of the five-stage model of e-moderation. My name is Laura Ambrose, and I'm Program Coordinator for the Graduate Certificate in Autism Studies. I'll be delivering today's presentation alongside my colleague Kim Maguire, who's the e-moderator for the program. The presentation will begin by providing a brief overview of our program and our student body, which will provide context for the e-moderation practices which are used within the program. I'll then introduce Jilli Salmons' five-stage model of e-moderation, which will be followed by Kim's description of how she uses e-activities and e-moderation strategies across each of the 5 stages to promote student engagement, interaction, and knowledge construction. We offer the Graduate Certificate in Autism Studies, which is a 1-year 11-line program. It's offered in collaboration between Mary Immaculate College and the Middletown Centre for Autism in Northern Ireland. Applicants to the programme are required to hold a Level 7 or Level 8 bachelor's degree in any discipline. This detail is really critical in understanding our student body, as they are a remarkably diverse group with a range of expertise, knowledge and experience relating to autism. Key to the e-moderation model is encouraging students to interact and co-construct knowledge, which is particularly valuable given the wide range of perspectives within our student body. Our current cohort of students is 60 students, and Kim Maguire has been our dedicated e-moderator since the inception of the programme in 2016. Jilli Salmon's 5-stage model, as portrayed in this slide, emphasises the ways in which peer-to-peer engagement and interaction can be developed and facilitated with the use of e-moderation strategies. Each stage of the model includes both technical skills, which the learner must acquire. These are shown in the purple portion of each stage, alongside the role which the e-moderator fulfills. This is shown in the blue portion of each stage. As you can see, within the first stage, the e-moderator focuses on welcoming and encouraging students. The second stage involves providing opportunities for students to meet their peers and share some knowledge with one another. Within the third stage, the e-moderator supports students in interacting with one another and with course content. The fourth stage sees the e-moderator introduce e-activities which encourage students to engage in collaborative learning, while the fifth stage sees students become more independent and responsible for their own learning. Here you'll see a slightly more detailed overview of the 5-stage model of e-moderation. Stage 1, access and motivation, may involve such design elements as ensuring that all students can log in, all instructions are outlined clearly, and tasks are quite simple and achievable. Stage 2, online socialization, involves building effective groups and setting the stage for learning. This will involve setting up activities that allow students to experience the benefit of working together in a virtual learning environment. Stage 3, information exchange, involves establishing practice in online cooperation and using information for learning. This can be achieved by creating activities which require a small group of students to complete, while also ensuring that dialogue is promoted within the group. Stage 4, knowledge construction, focuses on developing more collaborative and independent work within each group. The e-moderator may introduce more demanding activities which require creative and critical thinking from the group. In Stage 5, development, the e-moderator introduces activities which require students to reflect on their learning process and development across the course of the module, alongside introducing activities which allow students to apply their learning. Kim will now present on how the 5-stage model of e-moderation is applied within the Graduate Certificate in Autism Studies.
Hi everyone, my name's Kim Maguire and I'm going to do the second part of this presentation. I've been employed as an e-moderator in Mary I since 2012 and specifically on this course for the last 5 years. Now I'm not a lecturer and I don't develop the content, so for me as e-moderator I need to study all that each week before I prepare for the following week and before I create the activities. As part of the online experience, we try to personalize it as much as possible. So if we're looking at Jilli Salmon's model on access and motivation, What we do is we create videos similar to what I'm doing here to introduce ourselves to the students and just to make it a little bit more personal for the students. So from here on out, I'm going to talk through the different stages of Jilli Salmons' model and our interpretation of those stages. For me, the online socialization in Jilli Salmons' model is the most important step in encouraging student participation. Once I've put the students into groups, they're encouraged to sit with their fellow group members during orientation day. This year orientation was online, so instead I created online group lounges where the students came together to chat amongst themselves. The group lounges, or meeting rooms, were accessed through Big Blue Button. Some students can find this quite daunting, so for the first few weeks I invited the students to their group lounges one evening per week, and I was there to facilitate the initial conversations. It was also important to start with the focus, so I opened the meeting with a Moodle workshop or a discussion around the live presentation. Within a month, the students had set up their own WhatsApp groups, and I could take a step back and know that my work had been successful. The students were making connections, which was ultimately going to enhance participation. Online socialization carries on through the year, and using breakout rooms during live lectures has been very successful too. Information exchange. This is when the students start to interact with the course content. For me, I usually start with a single discussion forum where the students engage with the course content through a focused question and they respond to another student's post. There are many possibilities at this stage, but it's important to be clear on what you expect from the students. I do this by uploading a template of instruction, which Jilli Salmon would call an invitation. This is a sample template which I use to let the students know what is expected of them when carrying out this activity. They need to know the week, the title, the activity type, the objective, the activity itself, the deadline, and the marks which are awarded for completing the activity. By stage 4, I challenge the students to become more involved in constructing their own knowledge. Another activity which can be brought in here is student-led moderation. I ask for 2 volunteers from each group to moderate the discussion forum. I would only do this in the second semester when they understand online etiquette, the tone which can be used as a moderator, and how to respond to posts. The volunteers do not need to complete the activity for that week. Over the week, I keep an eye on the fora and I will email the volunteers separately to encourage them and to help them out if needed. I'd only intervene in the discussion if necessary. I tend to use this strategy when the week's lectures are less academic. So for example, on the GCAS programme, I encourage students to engage in discussions following live lectures which are delivered by guest presenters on Saturdays. These discussions are driven by students' personal experiences of the lectures and are not literature driven. This takes the pressure off the moderators as they don't feel they need to know everything about the topic. Thorman outlines the benefits of student-led moderation. It offers a variety of feedback. Student-led discussions create more conversation. There's enhanced group ownership. It demonstrates good citizenship. The moderator can see the bigger picture. It ensures the student moderators read all posts in detail. Now, there are a few limitations to this too. It can be time consuming. Some students might resent being questioned by other classmates, but ultimately it needs to be moderated effectively. Another activity I use is the glossary on Moodle. The students are encouraged to find an article or website which has been suggested in the lectures and share it within their group. I give them a template where they describe the article, give the name of the article as summary, and upload it to the glossary. The aim of this activity for each group is to create a bank of knowledge which they can refer back to when they're carrying out their assignment. Some of our students might not have been in education for more than 20 years, So when I upload an activity, which might be a little bit more challenging, I'll always offer an alternative method of carrying out the activity, but with the same objectives in mind. By stage 5, you want the students to be able to evaluate and reflect on their learning. Socratic or reflective questioning can be included in discussion fora where the students will begin to look at how they learn. This can include asking the students to reflect on their posts which they've saved in one folder over the year. Another activity I use is to ask students to create their own quizzes using my forms in Microsoft 365. I upload a recording of how to create a quiz and I invite the students to engage in this activity. The students create a 5-question multi-choice quiz. The quizzes are an excellent way for the students to look back over the content as they need to research the questions and possible answers. The quizzes are uploaded within their groups and students complete the other quizzes and offer feedback to one another. I suggest that the students keep all of their posts in a folder throughout the years so they can reflect over their learning at the end of the semester. There are many forms of feedback, and Blaigno and Trollope developed a taxonomy of feedback. The first type of feedback which they outline is Socratic. Socratic feedback involves reflective questioning. Informative. Here you comment on how the post relates to the content. Corrective. You clarify the content but avoid criticizing a point a student has made. Non-content related. You want to foster a community of learning and you want to make a personal connection to the members in a group, so it's important to be human in your responses. It's okay to start your feedback with emotions such as, your words really lifted my spirit, or your words resonated with me, or wow, your story is really uplifting. Effective feedback is acknowledging participation and providing support. Administrative. I will suggest that the students log onto the forum approximately 20 minutes, 3 days a week. Jilli Salmons talks about weaving and summarising. Throughout the discussions, you want to acknowledge the students' ideas, so when you weave, you are drawing connections between posts. I do this by maybe looking over 6 posts at a time and picking out similar themes. I will ensure to use the names of the 6 students and praise them on similar points they've made. I'll also acknowledge how they interpreted the course material, and I will add my own thoughts and suggestions. Summarising is slightly different to weaving. When I summarise posts, I might take 10 posts at a time and choose the main issues which arose. These summaries can be helpful for the latecomers who might not want to read a long thread. So what do you do when you see a student hasn't been engaging in the forum? I have to remind myself that there's always going to be lurkers. Lurkers are students who are reading posts and learning from other students, but who might not have engaged in the activities themselves, and that's okay for the moment. I will also examine how I set up the activity. Are there IT issues? Are the instructions clear? Is the activity motivating? I might study a particular group to see what the group dynamics are like. Is there a strong personality who is drowning out the other group members? Will the groups need to be changed in the next semester? When I see an opportunity, I also set up special interest groups where the students can choose which group they'd like to join that week. The special interest groups might be topic-based or based on the students' own experiences. Finally, coming to the end of the course, you might find that some students are becoming a little critical of the course delivery. This is not a time for lecturers or e-moderators to become overly sensitive. It means you've done a good job as students are now able to direct their own learning and are coming up with their own ideas. Remember, this isn't criticism. It just means they're ready to fly the nest. So I'm going to finish up now, and I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.